It is my pleasure to welcome you once again to another legislative conference organized by Hallow Mace Communications Limited in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency. Since we instituted the legislative conference, it has grown to be the most authoritative gathering of legislative issues in the country. For every edition of the conference, we choose a very germane and contemporary theme. Our theme for this year, strengthening the legislature for effective oversight function, cannot be more timely and fitting. The theme has also been broken down into 3 sub-themes, in which equally 3 eminent parliamentarians will be speaking, after which a panel of discussants will discuss each of them. As we all know, legislative oversight is oversight by the Parliament over the executive branch of government, including numerous ministries, departments, and agencies of government. Legislative oversight includes the review, monitoring, and supervision of federal agencies, programs, activities, and policy implementation by the National Assembly. It is therefore imperative to strengthen the processes and procedures that will further empower the legislature as an institution to carry out one of its core duties, which is oversight function. This is not just for lawmakers to wield more powers, but to endanger good governance, since the primary function of the legislature, of legislative oversight, are to prevent waste, fraud, and abuse, and to protect civil liberties and individuals by ensuring that the executive branch complies with the laws and constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This will be no mean feat, as ours will be. All these are happening with your support and patronage, as we are craving for more from you. Once again, welcome to this conference, and feel free to go into whatever direction that the spirit leads. I say thank you very much, and welcome to the Legislative Conference 2019. God bless you.
He said, "It is with great delight that I very warmly welcome you to the 2019 Legislative Conference, which is the second in the series organized by Hallow Mace Communications in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency. Your participation in this conference is a demonstration of the importance you attach to the legislature, not only as an important arm of government, but also as the bastion of democracy. The collaboration between Hallow Mace Communications and the National Orientation Agency is informed by the need to raise and sustain public awareness and engagement on the important role of the legislature in our democratic enterprise. Although we have had 20 years of unbroken democracy, it is clear that many Nigerians still do not have the basic knowledge and understanding of the constitutional role of the legislature in our democratic process. It is evident that there is so much misconception about the functions of the National Assembly. However, this is not totally surprising, given the fact that during the long period of military rule, which characterized our political development, the legislature was put out of existence, while the executive and the judiciary were allowed to operate, even though in an undemocratic environment. As a result, Nigerians didn't know much about the workings of the legislature. So far, the 9th National Assembly has shown commitment and determination to ensure that Nigerians enjoy the dividends of democracy. The current handling of the 2020 budget and the determination to pass the budget before the end of the year is a marked departure from the past and indeed a commendable effort. However, for the National Assembly to continue to succeed and make the desired impact, the support and goodwill of Nigerians are imperative. It is our desire, therefore, that this conference and subsequent ones to be organized will bridge the knowledge gap on the functions of the National Assembly under our Constitution and bring about better understanding and support of the people. The theme of this year is strengthening the legislature for effective oversight function. Is apt and coming at a time that government is determined to enthrone accountability and transparency in the governance process. As you are aware, the oversight function of the National Assembly is to ensure that funds appropriated by the legislature are used judiciously and in line with due process. This is one sure way to fight corruption and enthrone good governance and accountability. Consequently, any effort to strengthen the legislature for effective oversight function is a welcome development, and we continue to enjoy the support of the National Orientation Agency in line with our mandate to enlighten Nigerians on the policies, programs, and activities of the government and provide the necessary feedback. We have invited the legislative arms of the 6 area councils of the FCT to participate in this conference in order to deepen democratic practice and culture at that level. We hope to expand the conference next year to include state houses of assembly. May I therefore appeal to the leadership of the National Assembly to consider mainstreaming this conference into their yearly calendar of legislative activities. Finally, let me again welcome our special guests, resource persons, and participants, and to wish all of us very fruitful deliberations. It is my sincere hope that the outcomes of today's conversation will add value to the good work of the National Assembly. Thank you very much.
Serve your fatherland. Now on move. Report.
To establish protocols. What we are going to discuss today is one of the important functions of the legislature. Legislature at both council level, state level, and federal level, they have 3 basic functions. 1, lawmaking or bylaws in the case of council. Representation, they represent the area where they come from, and oversight function. This is one of the most important functions, and we are gathered today to discuss that important aspect of legislative activities. We are really very grateful to the organizers of this conference to ensure that legislatures are not left behind in carrying out this noble work. This is very important to the extent that it is only the legislature that is very close to the grassroots and who knows what his people want to make a change.
Sitting down in a hall of this nature to x-ray the challenges of their country in a bid to provide solutions to those challenges. It makes you people different in the sense that while others have chosen to dance around these problems and challenges, By sitting down under this hall, what you are doing is to confront these challenges, which is the natural way that a normal human being should behave. Again, Professor Ladan will tell you that in law, there is what we call the doctrines of reasonable foreseeability, which is defined as those things that a reasonable person acting reasonably should foresee. And this makes the difference between being reasonable and acting reasonably. Again, for you to decide to set a day or two to come under this hall and discuss how you can assist the country by putting your legislatures in the proper position anticipated by the framers of our Constitution to face the challenges of nation building should be commended by each and everyone who means well for this country. Democracy is about participation in governance. So naturally, each and every ethnic group in this country will want to participate in the decision that will shape his own future and the future of his children and grandchildren. And that's why the framers of our Constitution deemed it fit to say, okay, let us have 365 members of the House of Representatives, as nearly as possible to come from the diverse ethnic groups of this country, so that everyone will have sense of belonging to the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And what is the intention? The thinking and the intention was that if you participate in the governance, you will become a patriotic citizen solidly involved in the nation building of your country, beloved country.
Your Excellencies and distinguished audience, this keynote speech seeks to provide answers to three fundamental questions. First, why is legislative oversight necessary and mandatory in our constitutional democracy and in the scheme of our legislative governance? Why? Why is it necessary and mandatory in our constitutional democracy and also in our legislative governance scheme? The second question that I seek actually to provide an answer to in my keynote speech is what factors are responsible for weakening the effectiveness of legislative oversight in Nigeria and by extension other emerging parliaments in Africa or in developing countries. And the last fundamental question that the keynote speech seeks to address is how can we strengthen the legislature for effective oversight function in Nigeria? Distinguished audience, basically, the legislature performs four important functions, namely lawmaking or legislation, representation, oversight, and then arguably constitution-related responsibilities. Out of these four basic functions of the legislature, practically everywhere in the world, especially where you have an institutionalized democratic governance, oversight out of these four is generally seen as arguably the most crucial of all the basic functions of the legislature in any democracy.
His Excellency, the Deputy President of the Senate, Govia Omo Agege. It's a thing of pleasure to be gathered here to discuss a very important subject of good governance, namely the oversight function of the legislature on MDAs. Oversight function is no doubt the next most important function of the legislature after lawmaking itself.
I'm here to represent His Excellency, the Senate President of the 9th Assembly, distinguished Senator Dr. Ahmed Lawan. It gives me a great pleasure to identify with the organizers of this event tagged Legislative Conference 2019, which I believe it is part of your organization's contribution to enhance the capacity of Nigerians in the art and science of democratic practice. It is therefore my hope that this event will produce the kind of result expected through knowledge sharing and discussion of this kind.